Hey guys, Austin Wilson here. Today I'm going to show you guys how I created my homemade green screen. The very first thing I did was I went to Home Depot and I found a swatch of the brightest green paint that I could find. I took a gallon of that paint and painted it on the wall. Now, as far as green screen paint goes, you can order actual green screen paint online, but it's about 50 to 60 bucks a gallon. You can go to Home Depot and find a very similar color of the same paint. Now, what you want to make sure is when you buy paint from Home Depot or Lowe's, you want to make sure it's a matte color, not a gloss color, because we don't want the paint to be shiny. Next, what I did was I took sheets of poster board along the corner here. I taped them against the wall so there was a curve at the corner where the wall meets the floor, and then I painted over the tape and the poster board to give it a curved look against the corner of the wall. Then I took sheets of plywood on the floor and I painted those green because the floor in this room is carpeted and I wasn't able to paint the floor green. One of the most important things about green screening is the lighting. Now, it's important to make sure that your subject and your background are lit separately if possible. So what I have here is I have 2 Brightex soft boxes, and I also have 3 can lights on the ceiling that are only pointed at the background behind me. Next thing, if at all possible, you want to have a backlight. So on the ceiling or in the far corner of the room, if you can set up a backlight pointed toward your subject from behind, this backlight will create a halo of light around your subject, which will help the camera separate your subject from the background, which will make it easier for you to key them out later in After Effects or Final Cut. It's very important to use softboxes because they eliminate the shadows that your subject creates against the green background. If you're not using softboxes or you can't afford softboxes, please check out the DIY page and you'll find a great tutorial on how to build softboxes that you can fit on cheap construction lights. This is how we get the most effective green screen key possible. Next, I'm going to walk you guys through a tutorial in After Effects and show you how to key out properly your subject in After Effects. All right, guys. So we just shot our green screen footage and now we need to bring it into After Effects to key it out. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to import our source footage. We're going to right click inside of our project window, import file, locate our file, bring it in. Now, instead of going to composition, new composition, and then changing all the settings based on our source footage, we can actually drop and drag our source footage right into our cleared timeline, and it'll automatically create a composition with settings based on the source footage. Now in this case, for some reason, it squished it down to 9:7. Now in this case, for some reason, it squished it down to 960 by 720. Its normal aspect ratio is 1280 by 720, so what we want to do is right-click, composition settings, change this to 1280, press OK, and then stretch this back to normal. All right, so once we have our source footage in our timeline, we want to key out our subject. So the first thing that I usually do to get rid of all this extra stuff around the frame is highlight the layer and create a mask around your subject. So I'm going to take my mask tool, either the square or the pen tool, and draw a mask around the subject. So what this has done, it's automatically eliminated all the stuff on either side of your subject that you don't need, so this is already transparent. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to our effects and presets, and we're going to find our key light. You're going to click and drag your key light down onto your timeline, into that layer. Once it's added, it'll show up in your effects controls window. First thing you're going to do is you're going to take this screen color dropper right here, you're going to click on it and you're going to drag over and you're going to select part of your green screen. Now you don't want to select the brightest part of the green screen or the darkest, you want to find where the medium sort of light is. So you're going to click on it and that's immediately going to eliminate the green screen. Now you may think that that's all you had to do, that all of your area is completely eliminated. Well, that's not always the case. What I like to do to double check is that I right click on my timeline, I go to New, Solid, and create a white background so that I can see if I'm missing anything. It always ends up on top, so you can click, drag it underneath your source layer. Now, as you can see here, you have all this extra stuff that needs to be keyed out from your green screen. The easiest way to do that is go back, highlight your layer. Next thing we're going to do is drop down our screen mat, and we're going to clip the black area. Now this is the black area here, so you're going to drag this until all that's eliminated. Now you don't want to drag this too far. Once you get past about 25, your image is going to get real pixelated. Next thing I like to do is go into my view, change it from final result to screen mat, so we can check our subject. Now we can see that our subject is also transparent. So we need to clip the white area so that it's solid all the way through. So we're going to go to clip white. We're going to drag this down until we get a decent whiteness. Now what's going to happen when you clip the white is the edges of your subject are going to become pixelated. Now in order to correct for that is to maybe adjust the clip white back and forth just a little bit. You know, if there's a little bit of transparency, it's okay. Also, you can take the screen softness and change it to, I don't know, I usually use a value of 2. Change it and it'll kind of soften the edges of your subject. Now, let's say your key's not very good and you can't clip the white all the way or the black all the way. Another thing that's really nice you can do is you can select your layer in your timeline, Command D, and duplicate it, and that's going to make your subject a lot brighter. Now you don't see it in the screen mat view, but when you go back to final result, you'll see that your subject is a little transparent here where the black is. So if we eliminate that first layer, excuse me, it's still in the final result. We're going to go to, we're going to change this back to final result. So you can see that when we duplicate the layer, our subject gets brighter in the leg area, and it's duplicating the pixels in the most transparent areas. So the more you duplicate the layer, the less transparency that's going to be. And that's basically it. Now you can take an image, throw it in the background, put whatever you want back there. It's a pretty simple process. This has been another AE tutorial by Austin Wilson. I hope you enjoy.